Mr Assistant President. I also rise to take note of the Minister's answers regarding to drought. Like the Minister, I was also travelling around the state. I did actually spend some time on the weekend in Wadra. Sorry, Wes, I didn't send you a text.
No, that's all right. I saw it on James's Facebook page.
Look, I went out and spoke to farmers. You know, one of them, as the honourable member mentions, was James Gooden. I remember going out there 2 years ago and seeing his paddocks, seeing how lush they were, talking to him, hearing about the investment, huge investment that he'd already made in his soils to try and prepare for drought, and to see what they were like now was actually quite devastating. So I heard quite clearly from James and other farmers that they're over loans. They're calling for things other than loans. They're calling for things like freight subsidies so they can get their stock to market, or they can get their stock to an adjusted property, or they can get hay and fodder for their stock. They can get water for their stock. That's what they're calling for. They're not calling for more loans. I think the government needs to maybe diversify their drought fund so we can accommodate for things like that. And I guess the other thing that we heard quite clearly from them, and it's something that I've spoken about many, many times before in this place, not just in this parliament but the last parliament, is actually having a structured response, a structured and coordinated response to drought. So farmers actually have some certainty about, as we move through the different stages of drought, because there are different stages of drought, that farmers have certainty about what support will be available. Not just this lump fund and say, hey, you can apply for a loan and you can do whatever you want with it. We need a structured response, structured and coordinated response to drought, not only from a state government level, but a federal government level as well. So there is that coordination between the two. We haven't had that. We didn't have it under the last government. We don't seem to have it under this government. I would ask this government to actually look at that and do better.